All right.
Good morning to each and every one. Glad that everyone is in attendance and this bright and sunny smiles on everyone's face. And we're going to turn it over now to our city clerk.
This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, March 16th. We'll have our invocation, Pastor Sid Phillips, Grace Bible Church. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Phillips. Okay, Pastor Phillips is not here. Mr. President.
Gracious God, again, we come thankful for this day, for the ability to have life, health, and strength for the city of Mobile, its mayor, its council, and all of its citizens, asking that you would continue to bless us with vision, with guidance, and with your direction to do the things that would not only be beneficial to your people, but pleasing to your sight. Bless this city, our state, this country, and this entire world as we all stand in need of more of your grace and mercy. These are the blessings we ask. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Colleagues, I don't necessarily, I'm not asking for a moment of silence, but I would ask that we would keep in our thoughts and in our prayers a very valued city employee, Mr. Greg Cyprian. All of us were apprised on yesterday of his condition, that he has been stricken with the horrendous COVID-19, the coronavirus, and that he is having a battle. And so we're asking all citizens in our Mobile community and those who would hear it around the nation to keep him and his family in your prayers. Greg has been an integral part of the arts and cultural fabric of the city of Mobile. Right. I know for 2 decades, from publishing a magazine to working with the city on various activities that all of us put on throughout the years that we've been in office. And so I just wanted, he has not transitioned. We're praying that that doesn't happen, but we want his family to know, and those who care about him, that we at the city and the city's leadership is concerned about him as well. So let's keep him and all of the citizens of Mobile who have been impacted and inflicted by this horrendous virus in our thoughts and prayers.
Roll call, President Manzi.
Here.
Vice President Small.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Dave.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement of rules.
In response to national, state, and local guidance due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the Alabama Open Meetings Act and the Governor's Supplemental Emergency Proclamation, we are meeting remotely. While we are all in different places, we are able to participate as if we were all in the council chambers at Government Plaza. And in keeping with the requirements of the Alabama Open Meetings Act, the public is still able to observe the meeting through the live stream. All items we will address during this meeting are either necessary to respond to COVID-19 or necessary to perform the essential minimum functions of the city. Citizens wishing to offer any commentary, any comments can provide those to the council by emailing them to cityclerk@cityofmobile.org. Those comments will be acknowledged distributed to council members, and included in the meeting minutes. Speakers during various parts of today's meeting will be granted 3 minutes to make their presentation. At the conclusion of the second minute, a bell will sound, indicating that you have 60 seconds to conclude any and all commentary. Where that rule is applied across the board, that's not to discourage anyone, but we want to be upfront about those time limits at the very beginning. Those are the rules for this particular council meeting, and we are appreciative of each and every one of you all's continued interest in your municipal government.
Approval of minutes of March 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second, in the discussion. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. It's good to see everyone this morning. Just a couple of announcements this morning. First, for those of you that may have attended downtown this past weekend at Art Walk, it was a huge success when you combine the roller skating around Bielma Square with the Festival of Flowers. I think it exceeded everyone's expectation on the fun that was had, the success of the Festival of Flowers. And I've been told by Shonda Smith that the roller skating was such a hit that that we'll be doing it at least once a month going forward. So for the city councilors that haven't got your roller skates yet, it's time to get them before the next event. On another note, the Unified Command had its last scheduled call this morning. The decision was made last week that because of the declining number of cases and where we stand today, it's no longer necessary for us to talk every week. We have been doing so. Actually, we started that in April. Commissioner Ludgood, Dr. Ishow, and the folks out at the out at 911, excuse me, out at the at 911. Anyway, so we have a lot of people on the call every week, but we've decided to stand down unless something else happens that would cause us to ramp back up. I think we all acknowledge that we learned a lot. There were a lot of hurdles to cross over, but because we were communicating, and really it was more than once a week early on, it was a couple of times a week, that it kind of consolidated our thought processes and the communication so that when we did have the hurricanes, we were already in place to deal with the hurricanes. So anyway, I would say that going forward, if need be, that we will get back together as needed. But at this point in time, we are no longer having those weekly calls. On another note, for those that traverse going east and west and crossing Broad Street, I think you will see that there's a lot of construction that is now between Spring Hill Avenue and Government Boulevard. So that area on Broad Street from Spring Hill Avenue to Government Boulevard will actually be, all of it will be closed down starting March 18th, and the closure is expected to last until late summer. But all the businesses that are located close to Broad Street, you know, at Broad, Dolphin, and O'Shell, they will have access and they will continue to be open. And our hope is that in the near future that the contractors will actually complete all the construction except for the final coat of asphalt starting at Lawrence Street, coming around to Spring Hill Avenue. There's still landscaping to be done, some curb and gutter, and some of the bike trail. But it'll be good when all that's completed, so we will know what the finished product looks like. It's also my understanding that probably next week, the roundabout on Canal Street will be opening. So that concludes my remarks, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I know there are a lot of excited citizens of both Oakley and down the Bay, Church Street East, and regular travelers of Broad Street that are excited about the opening of that roundabout and all of the work that's going on Broad Street. It really is remarkable.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President.
yes, I would like to ask the mayor Is he planning on having his own roller skates next month?
If you do, I will.
I think it was a great idea. I had the opportunity to drive down earlier on last Friday and saw the disco lights and et cetera that was hanging up in the Parks Department, getting prepared. And it was a great idea. If I didn't have previous plans already, I would have been down there. But I'd like to take my hats off to Shonda Smith and her department too, because what I saw had looked very great. And then what I saw on social media really had looked good on last Friday evening. And that's stuff that we need to, be happening in downtown Mobile, where the people can come down and family atmosphere, spaced out and can pretty much enjoy our scenery. So, thanks again to the Parks and Rec Department for putting it on.
Thank you for your comments, Councilman. They really, Parks Department did a great job. And, to drive people to downtown, and a lot of it revolves around programming. And by programming, I mean ideas like the roller skating event. So anyway, kudos to them. I agree.
Mr. President,
Whenever Fred.
I think I heard Mr. Williams and then,
Let's let Fred go first and then I'll.
that's fine, Mr. Richardson and then Mr. Williams.
okay. Matt Simpson, over a month ago, I wrote you regarding Barracks Lane to get some a specific time as to when the contractor will return back to District 1 and take on Barracks Lane, which is probably one of the worst streets in the city. As you know, they started off in November and they did resurface the streets on the list in Trinity Garden, and they left, and I assumed they were going to finish. And I had already notified the people they are here. It won't be long, they vanished. So I wrote just to find out give me a timeline, and Ms. Amberger responded to say that they was going to start the next week. The cement crew was coming, and then the resurfacing crew would follow. Haven't seen no resurfacing crew, so I wrote you again a couple of weeks ago, say no resurfacing people showed up. I want to know specifically when would the resurfacing people start. Nick wrote, said tomorrow they would come and start milling the street, and once they mill the street, resurfacing would start. We haven't seen a living soul. So each time I've notified the residents what to expect. Each time nothing has happened. And so I've gotten about leery of being told specifically what to expect. It seemed like somebody's playing games with me and the citizens in District 1. Let's tell Fred anything. It's like Chicken Little. That sky is falling, he'll believe that. So, Mr. Mayor, I want to know specifically when the contractor will start resurfacing Barracks Lane. When can the citizens on Barracks Lane expect the contractor to come and resurface? I know I'm not expecting you to have an answer now, but I would like to have an answer as soon as possible as to when. And if they can't come on that date, I would like to know why. What's the problem? When is the new date? Not to tell me they're coming tomorrow and 2 weeks later, we haven't seen the soul, haven't heard from a living soul. It's not Nick Amberger. The administration is getting a name of just saying something to the citizens, just trying to placate and saying something to quiet the citizens down and just tell them anything. So
I'll respond to that.
Okay.
I'll respond to that. Nobody's playing games. We were told by the contractor that they would be there. Subsequently, we were told that there were equipment failures having to do with their lowboy moving the milling machine. But based on the information that Mr. Amberger was given, he genuinely thought that they would be there. So because we're at not the mercy, but we have to believe what's told to us also. So we've passed that message on. So I'm not going to promise that they're going to be there tomorrow, but I can assure you we're doing everything that we can to get them there as quickly as possible.
Yes, and Mr. President, this closing remark is, Mr. Mayor, having that information at hand and knowing that I've been told when they were going to start, I don't see no reason why I could not have been provided that information in the future. I would like to be provided. I would like to be updated. If the projection changed, I would like to know what's the new projection.
I found out about 2 minutes ago that they weren't there when you started speaking. So I did not know they did not show up. So anyway, we can move on.
Mr. Williams.
I started a conversation with the mayor, so I'm not going to finish it here, but I just want to let everyone know that I am hoping that in the very, very near future, that somehow we can find a way to meet the basic financial needs of the police the police advisory committee that we have put together by the city council. We may have to be creative and that they may have to operate a little bit differently in that maybe they just submit invoices to the city in a form of an estimate. They get approved and then we pay directly to a vendor for their needs. But I think it's important at this time that we continue the dialogue that the police advisory committee is trying to create across the city. And I ask Mr. Mayor for your personal participation in it. I just believe it's important. 6 out of the 7 council members have made appointments and they are ready to go to work, but they just need a little bit of help. It's just been too many obstacles. I appreciate your help.
Mr. President.
And I heard Mr. Small and then Ms. Gregory.
And then I would like a chance to.
And then
Thank you.
the Honorable Bess Rich.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'd like to thank Councilman Williams for bringing that up because it was my intention to also to give, but I would like to ask our attorney to look into, if he has not already have done it, to find out the best possible way for us to do that legally and the way that we should do. But again, I'm ready to go ahead and commit, but I need to know exactly how to where to put the fund in that and et cetera in the correct way. Thank you, Mr. President.
And in that vein, Mr. Arledge, if it takes us passing legislation in order for a council committee to get city resources, I'd ask that you get that on our agenda as quickly as possible. Because I totally agree with the sentiments of Mr. Williams and Mr. Small. And there's this notion that almost as if we've done something intentional in order to be in a hindrance or an encumbrance. And that's absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. We never would have set the group up if we were not in truly intention on them doing the work. So we want to give them the tools that they need. And if the city has protocols that's required in order to expend money, then we need to work within those protocols or either amend those protocols. And so I'm hopeful between either some form of legislation or some help from Mayor Stimson. I know he's hearing what we're saying today, that we can get them the tools they need as quickly as possible.
Mr. President.
Ms. Gregory, I'm sorry, Ms. Gregory, then Ms. Rich, and then Mr. Daves, then Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. President. At one point, the advisory council had asked us to contribute from our discretionary funds. And I had already sent in a request to transfer the $250, which would have gone across if each of us had contributed $250, and that would have given them, I think, $1,000 or something like that. And I had already made that request and sent it in, and I know some others were doing the same thing. And I thought that amount of money would be enough for them for this year, because that's what they had asked for. So in that regard, I think if we could do that, that might get them started where they need to go. I don't know what they will need beyond that. That's another, I think, discussion in and of itself. But if each of us who has an appointment would go ahead and make that contribution, I think that will kick them off where they need to be.
Miss Rich.
Thank you. Yes, I received what everyone did and was certainly willing to commit out of the discretionary funds, but I know that the city has a requirement about being a 501c3 before they'll release checks. That's the issue. I think what we might want to consider doing, if the council's amenable, would be to look at a revenue that we request that be set aside. And then they would purchase, I guess, through the city. What do they want? The internet service? I mean, it certainly would give them the depth to, become a group that we all envision it to do, a voice of the people and input, and it should be welcomed. It's a matter of where their resources will come from and how that will be arranged. And I believe what Councilman Williams is saying, that the administration could play a big part in how they could go about getting those resources. We could contribute the money or ask that the city allocate up to, what was it, 1,000? I think they requested. It wasn't a lot, but it would meet their needs. And, we shouldn't have committees that don't have a method in order to be productive and do what, we put in their charter, so to speak. So it takes some creativity, and I hope that we could work towards that. If the city says it's okay, they can get the money, they're the ones that actually release the money. We don't do that. But I didn't bother to write my letter because I didn't know who the city would give the check to. And so that's really the creativity that has to come to play. And I do hope there's a willingness to see that happen. Thanks.
Okay, that's Miss Rich. I think Mr. Davis, did you have some, even though you've made no appointment, did you have some commentary?
Yes, sir, I certainly do. First, I'd like to remind our colleagues that the authorization for the Police Advisory Committee expired on December 31st of last year. So the committee is operating under no authorization whatsoever. Now, I voted for the original authorization, which we did several years ago. I support the committee in principle. But what happened was a compromise was reached, that was enacted, and then certain council persons decided to ignore important provisions of that compromise. And so that's what happened. And now we don't even have an ordinance authorizing the commission. My suggestion would be to go back to the drawing board, come up with a new ordinance authorizing the commission, providing therein the scope and conditions under which the commission and the various appointees will serve, and provide therein for funding for the commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Williams, did you know? Mr. Richardson? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. That is a council board. And I don't know of no instance where this council made a contribution from our discretionary funds to a council board, and they would have to bring additional evidence to prove that they were nonprofit. I don't know of no instance. Look on the agenda today where money is going. Almost every week it is happening. So it seems to me that this group has been picked out to be picked on. We are giving funding to all sorts of groups. Has nothing to do with the city. This is a group that was created by the Mobile City Council. And we're saying they need additional proof before we can get them some money. I have also notified the administration that I would like to contribute $250 to this group. And whatever is holding this up, I would like to be notified in writing. And I would like for our attorney to get down to the bottom of this. We don't have, there is no group that we have under our auspices that's in business for a profit. Not one. So I don't see how anyone can can fathom that this may be a group for profit. It is a group appointed by this council with a specific purpose, and one of them is not to make money. So I think we need to, that is somebody is putting up a firewall up there to block them from getting any funding from the council. That's the way I see that.
Mr. Williams, I think you may be
Thank you very much.
off for commentary.
Appreciate. Before some of the colleagues have to go here, I would like to take this opportunity, if you allow, to introduce a group that is with us in Zoom, in person. These are students that have a few more months remaining in their time with the Tillman's Corner area Leaders Learning Program. They led by my friend Tina Peru with the Southwest Mobile County Chamber of Commerce. It is, I don't know, we're in the 10th year or something. It's something like that now. It's really been my pleasure to be a part of it. And if the council will allow, I'd like for each one of them that are in attendance to introduce themselves and tell us what they're going to do after they finish their high school. So let's start with Cottage Hill Christian.
My name is Meg Hannon. I go to Cottage Hill Christian Academy. After high school, I'm going to be attending South Alabama, and I'll major in biology.
Awesome.
I'm Anna Olson. I go to Cottage Hill. After Cottage Hill, I would like to attend Troy and do a major in English education.
All right.
My name is My name is Ryan Waite, and I also go to Cottage Hill Christian Academy, and I intend to go to the University of Alabama in Huntsville to major in aerospace engineering.
I'm going to stop it right now for just 1 second. I knew he knows I was going to do this. I coached Ryan when he was 4. And I see all this gray and almost no hair. It was, it didn't look like that back in the day. And just a motivated young man from a great family. And it just shows you the quality of the program. Ryan's really good to see you. I wish I could see you in person, and maybe that happens before you graduate here. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir.
Hey, my name is Cole Jones. I attended attending University of Alabama at Birmingham and majoring in nursing.
All right, Brianna.
I'm Brianna Eccles. I go to McGill Tulane, and I plan on attending Auburn University and majoring in architecture.
Seen anybody else with us?
No, sir. The Baker students weren't able to get on this morning. We have Gabriella Cazalas, who's attending South Alabama, and then Anne Marie Stevens, who's already graduated and attending Spring Hill College. So kudos to her.
Awesome. Well, thank you for all you're doing, and I look forward to meeting you at 1:30 in the mayor's Zoom meeting.
Mr. President,
Mr. Daves.
I would just like to congratulate all these.
Oops. Mr. Davis.
You know,
you need to start back. We heard you say congratulate, and then.
And I appreciate it today. Thank you so much.
All righty.
Back to school.
We can move on.
Well, look, congratulations to all of you. Keep up the good work. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President.
I think we need to ask our attorney if he can go back and look at the board with the police citizen advisory committee. And I guess Mr. Daves stated that we had expired. So we need to really just ask our attorney to go back and look at that, and also look at the funding method, and probably also work with the administration with that.
Absolutely. And colleagues, I can commit that I'll be in discussion with Mayor Stimson after this meeting on where we are with this particular item. Mr. Aldridge, if you could do your due diligence on that end as well, because I can't understand how it would be council discretionary. 6 of us are moving in one direction to give a very meager amount of resources to a city appointed board, and we're running into some encumbrance. And I understand that may be protocol, I get it. I'm not saying it's intentional, but we need to clear this path so that if there are other instances where we feel the need to give resources to a city council appointed authority, hopefully we won't run into these roadblocks.
Mr. President.
Mr. Richardson.
I would like to go further to ask Mr. Aldridge to look at the ordinance to find out, to see whether or not he can give us his legal opinion as to whether or not the council should be able to allocate discretionary funds to this group legally. Is there any legal factors that will prevent this council from allocating funds to this group as we do to other groups? All you have to do is look at the council. What's different from this group than it is from any other group? We would like to have your opinion on whether or not you believe that the council can allocate funding to this group legally.
Yes, sir. Thank you to all of you, and thank you in advance, Mr. Aldridge. Mr. Mayor, did that conclude all of your commentary?
Yes, it did.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
Adoption of the agenda.
Come on, y'all.
I move the adoption of the agenda that all items listed as essential COVID-19 items be declared as such, and that we move item 30.
You're breaking up on us, Councilman Daves.
I move that we adopt the agenda that all the items listed as essential COVID-19 items be declared as such, and that we move item 34003 to the top of the agenda.
Second.
Been properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Uh, 34003, ordinance to amend chapter 34 of the city code to include the real property business privilege tax applicable to lessors of residential buildings and dwellings to the schedule of licenses.
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Let's get
can I
Ms.
make
Rich and Mr. Davis.
I just have a question. This will be re-advertised, but when will it go into effect? Does it have a 30-day or is it immediate? Chris, do you know?
Yeah, it's just.
Well, the business license, the ordinance will go into effect upon publication. I don't know about, we can't charge a business license in the middle of they may be able to do a partial one in July, but otherwise it would really be next year.
Okay.
That's it, Chris. It's July. It's July, but the ordinance goes into effect immediately. No publication required because it's not zoning.
I mean, it is published after after we
Yes.
pass it is what I meant.
Right, correct.
That,
but
I
no
meant that
preview.
too. I didn't know when people would expect the city would start actually collecting. So you're saying at midpoint, because business licenses are looked at in July, so that's when they'll be asked to participate, or will it start in the next calendar year, according to this ordinance?
No, it's July of this year.
It's interesting. Okay.
Mr. President,
I heard Mr. Daves.
I
Let's hear
move,
from Mr. Daves.
I move that
Come
we
on.
amend the ordinance to reflect the current version.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Relative to the amendment, any discussion? Absent any discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So let's move back to the item as amended. It's been properly moved. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Williams?
I hate being surprised. Mr. Mayor, do we really need to execute this in July? I would think that a renewal, at the time of renewal, would be the best time to be a business-friendly move with a new change to an ordinance.
Let me explain something. I think, Mr. Williams, two things. One is you're correct. Renewals for the people who have business licenses already. But if you don't have a business license already, then it's July. So you're correct.
Okay.
It is the business-friendly way for us to make sure that renewing people, I'm glad you made that clarification too, Mr. Williams. That's anybody renewing will do it in July. Anybody who does not already have a business license, then that starts, they have until July to get one safe harbor.
And that was the city attorney, Ricardo Woods, everybody. All right, thank you, Ricardo.
It's good information for people to have, though. So
Yeah.
the city might want to consider, helping to get that word out.
And I
Thanks.
want to make certain that business owners and property owners are aware that we're passing this legislation, but we'll also have the ability over the next 3 months to monitor how smoothly the transition is in the roadblocks that we might experience. So that if this isn't a perfect piece of legislation, which I'm sure there isn't, we'll be able to make tweaks. We'll be able to make modifications so that it'll be better in the future. So work with us. There is a reasoning why, and this isn't necessarily a revenue generating, because that's what I hear often. And this is just the city's way of nickel and diamond property owners. This isn't going to generate an awesome amount of revenue, but it will give us a new level of accountability and access when it comes to these homes and these properties. Well, we're still at discussion. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Good job, Joe.
Thank you.
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on June the 12th and on Levert Avenue and May 15th on Woodlands Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearing today is the public hearing to declare the structures at 456 Booker Street, 912 Elmira Street, 1169 Elmira Street, 1212 Seneca Street, 2504 Courtney Street, and 2304 Burma Hills Court, public nuisances, and ordering them demolished and or repaired.
Leave any of them out.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak off any commentary during this particular public hearing? Any of these public?
Mr. President, Ms. Towns is on regarding 1212 Seneca.
Ms. Townsend?
Yes,
Ms. Townsend, if you could state your name and your address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to make all of your presentation.
thank you. Good morning.
You're welcome.
My name is Beverly Townser. The address in question is 1212 Seneca Street. My address is 1862 Lewis Avenue in Mobile 36605. I'm the owner of that property. I've owned it since 1986. After I had moved, I had tenants in that structure, but I didn't have good luck with either one. The last one resulted in me going to court to get them evicted. It left a bad taste in my mouth, to say the least, as far as putting anyone in there. And because I didn't put anyone in there during that time, that's when I started having problems with vandalism. And over the course of years, that's what I've been encountering. When I would try to do some type of repair, then someone would come right back and do more damage. I was not as proactive as I should have been, because I left it in the hands of someone else to take care of it. But I've gotten to the point now that I'm ready to be proactive to get the work done, because I don't want to lose my home. That's my home. I don't want to lose it. I have gone as far as to apply for the permit, and as of yesterday, it still had not been processed. I did talk to one of the clerks down there. I do have a permit number. Once it's processed, then I will be proactive myself in getting it done. And I'm just asking the council to please allow me to do that.
Mr. President.
Vice President Small.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Townsend.
Good morning.
Yeah, I informed the council this morning about your intentions was to go ahead and pull the permit and everything to go ahead and start working on the residents. I also had talked to Mr. David Doffenbach, and he said he did not have any knowledge of the permit being pulled, but I do understand with the city being closed down that it's a little bit hectic with the doing everything online today. What we're going to do, we're going to hold this over for 6 months, and then we'll just come back and visit it, and pretty much if the work is completed and done, and we'll just go ahead and go ahead and table it and everything. But if it's not, then the council will have to go ahead and get it approved and stuff. But we will hold this over for 6 months.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Townsend. And any other discussion? If not,
Mr. Chairman, this is David Dockenbaugh, Deputy Director, Municipal Enforcement.
Yes, sir.
If you have a second, I have additional information. After speaking this morning, I checked the permit records, and yes, there has been a permit application made, but regretfully, that permit application is only for the roof. This particular structure has more issues that need to be repaired in addition to the re-roofing permit, which is applied for, but has not been issued yet. So I just wanted to reinstate to the property owner to follow up with Build Mobile to not only go for repairing the roof, but also the exterior walls, because there's substantial damage to the exterior walls of the structure, and make sure that that building repair permit reflects all the actions that need to be repaired to secure the structure. But also, I'd also like to bring up, is there any way to table this only for 60 days? And the reason for that is if we go any further than 60 days, we might as well just go ahead and table it permanently, because I'll have to restart over with new notifications due to the ordinance only allowing a specific amount of time before I would have to start over.
Mr. President.
Let me get Mr. Small first, and then I'll come right to you, Mr. Rich. Mr. Vice President.
So, Mr. Dockenbaugh, you're saying within 60 days, and if the work is still, it's still ongoing past 60 days, then what happens after that? We will have to re-advertise, or we just let Ms. Townsend finish the work, or what happened?
And Mr. Small, just to follow up, the current ordinance in Chapter 52 directs that any information I provide to the City Council as the code official city council has to take action within 120 days of me sending out the 45-day compliance notice. We have 45 days, but we are also limited. We cannot place it on the council agenda to be heard for a public hearing until 50 to 60 days. So that leaves us a small window at council level to have a tabling of the agenda item before the 120 days is up from when I sent the first 45-day notice. If that happens, I would have to start over and send out new notice to everyone that's listed on the title report, and then we'd have to have another public hearing if we wish to proceed. So pretty much we're right at 60 days. Any further than that or any more time than that, we may have to start over.
Ms. Townsend, I'm going to ask you, and if possible, Mr. Dockenbach, if you could give Ms. Townsend that number. Ms. Townsend, I stress to you to pretty much to call Mr. Dockenbach and work with his office, but you know exactly what permits need to be pulled, what work needs to be done, and et cetera. Again, I don't think he's telling us that we can push this off for 60 days, but again, it's going to come back to us in 60 days, and you know, work will need to be, you know, progress and everything. So, Mr. Dockenbach, if it's possible that, I'm not too sure if you can just give out the number now, your office number, or your secretary or somebody can just reach out to Ms. Townsend to let her know exactly, you know, what is what.
Yes, the city clerk has been very helpful in providing contact information, but I have no problem giving that number over the phone or at this meeting, which my office number is going to be 251-208-1536. And again, that's 208-1536.
Thank you, Mr. Dockenbach.
Mr. Richardson.
Yes, I would like to ask Mr. Dockenbach, how long does a permit last?
The permit, a standard permit, and then really this is going to be the expert knowledge of the building department that issues the permits, but my understanding is that a standard permit, if it's issued, would be good for 6 months. However, in some cases with nuisance abatement, we have worked with the permitting department to bring that down to limit it to less than that, just to make sure that people don't hide behind permits. An example, if we issued a permit for 2 months, which would be sufficient to get the contractor on site and begin the repairs, the part B to that would be is once there's an inspection by the building department, the permit would be extended 6 months automatically. So to answer your question, 6 months standard would be the normal permit time, but if there's a restriction, all they have to do is get started on the repair work, call for an inspection, and then that permit would be extended 6 months automatically.
Okay, I asked that question because I believe if Ms. Townsend,
Yes,
if you get a permit,
yes.
that permit ought to be, it should be a standard permit, ought to be good for 6 months. And you ought to have, the city should not be able to demolish your house as during the life of your permit. Get your permit.
Okay.
Get the permit.
Mr. Richardson, like I said, I did, and I tried to contact Mr. Dockenbach. They put me in touch with a Mr., I believe his name was David Williams, and I talked with him. When I called, I actually went down to the office to get the permit, to pull a permit, but I found out that I couldn't do it in person, so I did it online. When I talked to one of the clerks and I told her the situation, she told me to get a permit to re-roof first. I said, well, there's other work to be done. She said, once I get the roof, then I would have to pull another permit to get the rest of the work done. So that's what I've done. I've applied for the permit to re-roof, and I've gotten a permit number. I just haven't had it processed yet to get the permit. So that's what I was told as of yesterday when I contacted them again to ask about the permit, because that's what I'm waiting on.
Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President.
Yes, Ms. Townsend, just understand, you know, several people might give you different opinions and suggestions. because I encountered the same thing, dealing with some city issues. But I suggest that you talk to Mr. Dockenbach or Mr. Eric Jackson only, or just email as much as possible, because I know record those two can tell you exactly what is what.
Okay, I sure will.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Ms. Townsend.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
Thank you. Oh, well, let me ask this then. I'm still waiting on the permit. So now how much time am I allowed? I want to be clear on that.
The council is extending this out for 60 days, and we're going to revisit this in 60 days. And that
Okay.
time, we will evaluate things at that particular time. But I advise you, as soon as you get that permit, get to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on, the permit.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. But I cannot tell you exactly how long the permit would be. That's administrative.
I'm sorry. The lady I talked to yesterday, Ms. Sadie, she said that I guess there's a backlog. I'm not sure. She said anywhere between 2 to 10 days. She said, but we're working as fast as we can.
To purchase a permit?
That's what I was told yesterday. She said, but we're working as fast as we can.
You had money in your hand to buy the permit, and you
I'm just waiting to get the email. She told me to watch my email, and once it's processed, I could go on and pay the fee. So that's what I've been waiting. I've even been checking as we've been talking.
Yeah, that's out of our lane. That's purely administrative, but we do understand. But as soon as you get it this time, just go ahead and just get to work and everything.
I will. I sure will. Thank you.
Hearing no further commentary, that concludes those public hearings.
Public hearing to consider the vacation of right-of-way between lots 3 and 4, Westwood Farms re-subdivision on Howells Mill Road, and also to consider a fee for vacation of right-of-way located between lots 3 and 4 and Westwood Farms re-subdivision on Howells Mill Road.
Mr. President, before the speakers speak, if you don't mind. There are some speakers here with us today, my colleagues here that are going to give us their argument, I think. What they were not privileged to was the pre-council discussion where we are in agreement with the vacation and with the waiver of the fee. So if the speakers will understand that, then we can move on. Thank you.
I'm appreciative of that effort, Mr. Williams. I hope it's accepted. Any particular speakers during this particular public hearing? Any speakers?
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
My name is Ken Watson. Council members, it's good to be with y'all here today. I represent Pintail Properties, and I had a presentation to make in support of this petition to vacate an unopened street and a waiver of the vacation fee. But in light of Mr. Williams' comment, I think I can dispatch with that. Very much appreciate y'all's help on this.
Yes, sir. Any other speakers? Then that concludes this particular public hearing.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Michelle Bright.
Ms. Bright, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hi, my name is, I'm trying to get you the video. Well, hi, my name is Michelle Bright, and I'm the founder and the CEO of Everbees Bright. I'm trying to come home. My company is service.
Could you give us your address, please, for the record?
My address right now is 117 Wholesale Road, Huntsville, Alabama, but I'm trying to bring my company home. I'm trying to bring jobs to the city. I was there last week, And I spoke with the chamber, Mr. Randall, and I'm working with Ms. Kidd. And I was concerned about the 15% minority and at 85%. I didn't understand if we're 55% the majority, why I'm in a 15% minority. I really need to know, because if I'm bringing jobs to this area and also gonna bring business partners that also will bring jobs to the area, I really need to understand this 85% to 15% minority if we're the majority.
Did you have any other commentary, Ms. Bright?
Sir?
You have a total of 3 minutes to make any comment, to make any presentation that you would like to make. So we're listening.
Okay, yes, I need an answer on that 85% and 15% minority. That is what I want to come home, but I got to be able to have opportunity to get the city contracts, an opportunity. I'm not asking nobody to give me anything. I just want to be fair. If we're 85% majority, but I'm only in a 15% minority, explain that one to me. That's why I'm here. I'm this 85% to 15%. If Blacks are 85% minority in Mobile, and we only will qualify for the minority 15%, who has the 85%? I'm coming home because I'm from Whistler, Alabama. I graduated from C.F. Viger in 82.
Hey, bud, how you doing?
So I'm bringing jobs back to Mobile. That's the only reason. If I'm coming home, I'm bringing jobs back. And I just want an opportunity where I can get city contracts, where I can put people back to work.
Excuse me, Ms. Bright.
Salary.
Someone is conducting some very important business while we're having this council meeting. If you aren't presenting, if you could put your various devices on mute, that way we won't hear your conversation. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, Ms. Bright.
Yes, I'm coming home, and I'm coming home with jobs, a company, and I also have spoken with other companies that is willing to come to Mobile area to bring a piece of the company there. I'm asking them because every time I come home, my heart aches because we can do better. So I'm coming home to stay, but I'm bringing jobs with me. And that's why I went to the chamber. I came and I spoke with Ms. Kidd. She is helping me, the diversity lady. She's helping me. But I just have that question, that 85% to 15% minority. Can nobody explain that one to me?
Mr. President.
Ms. Bright, that legislation was enacted, I believe, in 1985, when this current form of government, the current mayor council form of government, came into being here in the city of Mobile. It's a good faith effort, but what it doesn't say by any means is that you or any other business owner is precluded from being the main contractor or the 85%, if you will, on an initiative or on some city business. You would have that same opportunity, and there are others who are minorities who don't just get 15% of a contract. They get the bigger portion of the contract, or they get the contract in and of itself. It really depends on the type of work and whether or not there's a strong enough bench of capable, competent, qualified individuals who bid on the project and then subsequently are awarded the project. So African Americans, minorities, whether they're disabled, women, whatever qualifying minority it might be, they aren't just pigeonholed at 15%. You can get the big contract. You can be the main contractor. What the ordinance's intention is that in instances where that doesn't happen, that the main contractor makes a good faith effort to engage at least 15% of that contract with minority or disadvantaged businesses. So that doesn't preclude you or any other minority from getting all of the contract. Those days where that was going on have come and gone. And we've assigned this issue to the Finance Committee where we can actually see facts and figures as to how much progress has been made. One thing I do know, it has increased exponentially from when we took office, but I don't know the exact numbers, facts, and figures. But to answer your question directly, the sky is the limit if you're capable, competent, and qualified, and if you are the lowest responsible bidder, you can get all of the contract. What this ordinance is in place is to make certain that in those instances where the bench is not strong enough yet for minority business owners, that big business owner reaches out to that smaller business owner, which is typically in a diverse community, and works with them to engage at least 15% of the work, and that they make a good faith effort to do so. So that's the intention of the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for explaining.
Yes, ma'am.
And I see you guys soon.
And welcome back to our fair city. What kind of business do you own, if you don't mind me asking?
I have the main core is logistics, but I'm a government contracting too. I'm about to sign my first major contract next week, and I'm bringing that to the city. It's I'm gonna get warehousing because it's a logistics, and some of the companies that I have the contract is close to Mobile.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you can find a home in District 2.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Richardson.
we can tell Ms. Bright that there is no limit with the scope of your company, with the business you're in. It's unlimited what you can do. You can come and bid on anything you want to bid on.
Okay.
Let me just say, whatever you are doing in Atlanta, you can do it in Mobile. There's no law, there's no hindrance that will prevent you from doing whatever it is you're doing in Atlanta. You can do it in Mobile. If you can't do it, you come back to us. You can do it.
It's Huntsville, government.
Huntsville. You can
yes,
do the same thing.
I'm coming home. I'm preparing to come home now. All right, I'll see you guys soon. And thank you for explaining it to me.
Madam City Clerk.
Reggie Hill, regarding Resolution 6207.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk, Mr. President, members of the council, to the mayor, administration, citizen, stakeholders of Mobile. Good morning, Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. As our city clerk mentioned, I rise today with the honor of speaking on 60-207. As each of you know, I'm the executive director of Success for the Future. Success for the Future, 501c3 nonprofit organization, aims to ensure that young people, particularly those at risk, steer clear of pathways that lead towards delinquency, social dependency, and incarceration. And this is done through implementation of worthwhile behavior intervention and character development programs. Many of you know that we frequent the city council meetings. It was so good to see yet another youth organization that was participating today. We are normally there, aside from those moments of recognition, to actually be a part of the function of the government. And so this is a very, very beautiful day for us. We are still participating in all 7 districts of the city. We have program participants that are all over the area, all over the county. And so for us to have this opportunity today to be recognized for that work, it's an esteemed honor. We are grateful from the councilman from District 1 who for years has been able to identify those things that are of public need and public purpose within the city, and not only identify them, but give the necessary recognition for them to go out and continue improving the quality of life in the city that each of us love so dear. As well, I want to take this time to thank Ms. Betty Daniels, who was working directly with actually my Director of Administrative Affairs, who, much like before, the young man from Cottage Hill who was coached by Councilman Williams, this young man was coached by Councilman Williams as well before graduating high school at LaFleur. And so I want to thank him as well for the work that he's put in. And we're just grateful for this, and we're hoping that this will be approved as well. We're hoping that his colleagues will see fit to get in line, as the councilman has done, and standing up for what is necessary for our city. So again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Ms. Daniels, to our Administrative Affairs Director, and to the great councilman from District 1. And I thank you for yielding the floor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hill. Madam City Clerk.
Essential COVID-19 items held over. 65018, ordinance to amend and restate Chapter 65 of the City Code entitled Tree Protection and Management.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, okay.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Mr. President, I offer the amendments that are previously discussed. There are two of them, and offer them in an amendment to this motion.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
If I may,
Yes, ma'am. These are
one
this
of
is on
the
the amendment.
amendments. Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Okay, thank you. One of the amendments deals with working alongside with the courts for a recommendation, and that is for any tree in the public's domain that's been removed without the proper permitting, and if there is a judicial oversight, we'll be able to have a scale that talks about the value of the tree, and it's based on I guess a national standard. And so the language talks to that. We had talked about a restitution and putting a fee towards a size tree, but it was established that it's better to use this national standard. And of course, it's still at the judge's recommendation or discretion rather, but I think it tells the community and it tells the courts that we're very serious about trees that are abused or cut down without proper permits. So I just thank the council for, pulling that together and making that part of this ordinance. And I see that Peter is in the galley now, and maybe he'd like to also inform the community what has really been a lot of his initiative and the administration in getting a stronger tree canopy, so to speak, because I know our phones ring when we see these trees go down and we don't understand why it was allowed. So again, there'll be some changes with that. And I thank the council for moving in this direction. And I thank Peter and everyone who worked towards getting this part of our community's fabric. Peter, is it okay if Peter kind of gives a little bit of an overview?
Absolutely. Always glad
Great.
to hear from our tree expert, Mr. Peter Tola.
Good morning, Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank everybody for putting their time and effort into this. Councilman Rich, Councilman Williams, appreciate your amendments on this. Trees are good in this city. Trees are a vital part of this city. And what a better way to manage them with a base foundation of industry standards that any certified professional in the industry conducts themselves by every single day. This is going to be transformational to our city. Trees are good in this city, and I appreciate everybody in this gallery for putting the right foot forward on this. This will help preserve our canopy for a long time, and it's a big step in the right direction today of what's taking place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tola. Any
Yes, sir.
other
Thank you.
No problem at all. Any other discussion
Okay.
relative to the amendments?
Oh, to the amendments?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now let's go back to the item as amended. Is there any further discussion on this particular item?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Ms. Gregg.
Just a couple of things. I want to thank Peter Toller and the administration for all of the work that you did on this amendment and bringing 65 out of Chapter 64 as a standalone ordinance to help better protect and manage our trees. Thanks also to the people in the public. We had a lot of input from people who were very interested in trees, suggestions from the Tree Commission. And as many of those as was possible, we included language in this new ordinance. So I really appreciate all of their input. Mrs. Rich and Mr. Richardson and I met 2 different times in our committee meeting, and we had a lot of great discussion during those committee meetings. So again, just thank you to everyone for your participation. I do have one question, and Chris Arledge had sent this to me earlier about a change. And Chris, do we need to do anything with that? You had mentioned something about jail time and state law. Is there anything that we need to look at now as we were trying to get this approved?
No, I made that correction. I got Ms. Rich's approval to make that correction when we submitted the revision. And just so everybody is aware, previously it had a 6-month maximum jail sentence on the penalty. But under state law, maximum is only 3 you can do. So I just changed that.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, thank you so much.
Great. I want to thank Ms. Gregory and the members of our committee who have done a great and outstanding job tackling this very complicated subject matter. We've heard a lot from citizens. Even up until this morning, I'm getting emails from concerned constituents who are advocates for trees. We have a historic canopy of trees here throughout our city, and they want to make certain that that's preserved as part of the character of the city. And so just as we were remarking about the short-term rentals, we'll move forward, and if and in the future we see where we need to make modifications or something needs to be overhauled, we will have that ability. So we ask citizens to stay involved, to see how the process works, and if there are things that need to be amended, we'll have that ability.
If I could comment one more time.
Absolutely, Ms. Rick.
Thank you. And I too want to thank the chair of the committee for organizing those meetings and making sure that people had a say. Our tree commission is, goes back decades. And although this council is limited in putting things into our ordinance because of state law, but I hope that they'll still work with the council and anything that we can do, even if it's recommending up to Montgomery to get those things accomplished for them. Again, I know I'm speaking not just for my office, but all of you. When there's development now, there'll be trees that were not protected. I think that's a big part of this as far as I'm concerned, because people were so disappointed when they saw 90-inch, trees that, might have been in the footprint, but then would have to be now replaced somehow because having to do that. And we didn't have that code. We only have the 24-inch or greater live oak. And so the greenery out in the new developed area of town is sparse, and it really, it's unfortunate, but we've made some amends to that, so to speak. And I know that the community still would like things even better. Everyone has a different perspective, but keep those lines of communications open. And just remember there's trust and balance on all sides. And again, thanks to Councilwoman Gregory for her tenacity on this. And I know I expressed a lot of disappointment when I saw 64 go into 65 without these changes that I knew this, community was definitely in favor of for the most part, and it's all good. So I thank my colleagues for getting us to this point. And as our president just stated, it's also a work in progress. It can always be amended and get even better. So thanks again.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Gonna be 6-0.
That's right.
Oh, Joel's gone.
I do
He said he
believe,
had to leave early.
just for the record.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
if it's okay, may I go ahead and recognize President Sykes? They've been on, may I recognize them now?
Yes,
to make
ma'am,
comments?
absolutely.
Okay.
Dr. Sykes, I think you all are on mute. If you'd like to offer,
There he is.
there we go.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, Mr. President.
Okay. Well, good morning again, President Manson, member of the City Council, and Mayor Stimson. I have joining me this morning is Cheryl Hunt. She is Director of Institutional Advancement, which is the fundraising arm of the college. We appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all this morning. Just want to say that we appreciate the funds that you are going to provide, or at least hope you're going to vote to provide the funds, $250,000 to Bishop State this morning. And we're going to use the funds to purchase equipment in our advanced manufacturing center. If you have driven south on Broad Street, you can't help but to see the construction that's underway. And the facility will have labs that industry leaders have identified that these are the labs that we would train students that they need to be employed. The whole goal is to provide opportunities for students to have the skill set that these industry leaders need. These are manufacturing type labs for manufacturing type jobs, and we really appreciate the support from the City Council.
Thank you, Dr. Sykes, and thank you for casting a wide vision and then working to bring that vision into fruition. I can remember when your tenure started there at Bishop, a little while afterwards you and I met, and you were remarking then on building this building and what you wanted to do, and you took that from words to action. And as we drive down Broad Street, in addition to the transformation from the city's perspective, with the roads and sidewalks, curb and gutter, is being transformed also by Bishop State, and in the buildings that you all are building to better equip our community and our students to go right into the ready-made workforce that's here in the city of Mobile. So thank you. You've done a Herculean job. I'm proud of you. We're proud of you. And Madam City Clerk, if we can make certain that this item is listed as sponsored by both the mayor and every member of this council, because we want the community to know that we are 100% behind the efforts of Dr. Sykes and the staff there at Bishop State Community College. Great job.
Thank you. We appreciate it. It's been a team effort.
Mr. Williams?
I just want to make a brief comment. You know, so often in these years that we serve on the council, we send off money and we wonder the results. And sometimes we may even question if it was 100% the right thing to do. And I know, knowing the president personally, that this was 100% the right decision, and every dollar will be accounted for, and it will all go into making sure that our workforce is ready. Thanks, Dr. Sykes. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President.
Yeah, I'd like to concur with you and also Councilman Williams. With traveling, abroad with Airbus and going to, the air shows. One of the main things that they do ask about is workforce. How is your workforce? And that's one of the main questions that they have. And the concerns that you bring all these industry here and you don't have nobody that's trained and ready to go to work for them. And I do congratulate Dr. Sykes and his team for the wonderful, beautiful work that they're doing at Bishop State. Again, this $200,000 that we've given to Bishop is nothing compared to what's going to be produced. And what's going to be produced is students moving here, getting trained at Bishop State and getting trained for this, workforce, that all the work that's coming to Mobile, Alabama, in our backyard. We hear about so many times that, people have to leave Mobile in order to sustain a great living, but time is changing, and this is one of the things that's going to change, where people can stay right here and work in their own backyard. And again, congratulations to you, Dr. Sykes, and your team. Thank you so much for all the beautiful work you've done for our city.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Mr. President.
Ms. Gregory.
If I might as well, thank you so much for all that you have done, President Sykes, working on this wonderful addition to Bishop State. Something that we hear, as Councilman Small mentioned, is the lack of workforce development or trained workers to go into these businesses. And what you are doing there is making sure that when students come into Bishop State in these programs, that they are getting state of the industry, state of the art training, so that when they graduate, they can go directly to work and not have to be retrained. The fact that you were working with local industry leaders to develop the programs, I think, is very important and visionary on your part, because that's what they need and that's what they tell us that they need. So thank you for all that you're doing. I think we're all very impressed and just really look forward to working with you all more in the future.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's get Ms. Rich raised her finger, and then I'm coming right to you, Mr. Richards.
I'll
Ms.
be
Rich.
brief, because I echo the sentiments of my colleagues on this. And last week when I wrote my newsletter, I absolutely said we had passed it. That's how enthusiastic I was, because of the aspect that we recruit these businesses to town, and having the workforce trained and ready and willing is essential. And Bishop State is a wonderful asset in that regard. And to make sure that that's really part of their corporate spirit, so to speak, because it is criticism that we get. And so if the government is going to partner with these corporations as we continue into the future, knowing that there's this resource that is also very close to the elements of what's needed, is essential for it to become full circle. So thank you very much. And I look forward for the vote today.
Mr. Richardson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. And I'd like to commend Mr. President Sykes for the outstanding job he's done at Bishop State. I am a graduate of Bishop State. I left Connecticut County, where I could not attend the high school there. I did not graduate from high school, I graduated from a training school. And when I came to Mobile, I was able to go to Bishop State, and I did around 2 years at Bishop State. And then I transferred over to South Alabama, who the officials tried to convince me that the learning that I received at Bishop State and the training school did not equip me to attend the University of South Alabama. I was a grown man. I refused to accept that. I told them I would go to court before I do anything else. Don't fail me in the office, fail me in the classroom. If I don't measure up, fail me and I go home. But I'm not going home until I go to class. So they let me go to class. I graduated with honors in political science and history from the University of South Alabama because Bishop State had done its job. And I'm telling those students that's out there who want to go to Bishop State, you will get what you need if you go to Bishop State. And the Bishop State can't help you if you don't enroll, but if you enroll, you will get what you're going for.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Richardson.
Mr. President.
Dr. Sykes, yes, sir.
May I share one quick thing before you vote? It's related to something that happened yesterday with workforce training. Our Alabama Power second class graduated yesterday. 13 started, 13 completed. They're all interviewing for jobs today, and I go out on the line and say that all 13 will be employed by the end of the day. And so that's what we're trying to do at Bishop State.
Outstanding, outstanding.
Yes, sir. Glad to hear it. Keep up the great work. Mr. Vice President.
Yeah, and just approximately, Dr. Sykes, approximately how much would these students probably start off making?
They'll probably start off, so they just completed the pre-apprenticeship with Alabama Power. They'll probably start off making somewhere around $25 to $26 an hour.
Okay. And how long is that program? How long is that program again?
8 weeks, 9 weeks, 9 weeks.
I might take a legal action for 9 weeks.
No, you're not fooling anybody, Mr. Small. Thank you. Any other commentary for Dr. Sykes and the great staff they had at Bishop State? Wonderful.
Now we're not.
Are we taking up the item at this point?
Can we go ahead and take it? Why don't we just
I don't have an objection, Mr. Williams.
Mr. President, I move that we take it out of order.
I second.
Take it out of order. Yep.
It's been properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Read it for us.
Okay, 09168, appropriate $250,000 to Bishop State Community College for an advanced manufacturing center.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is passed unanimously. And I know Councilman Davis is not on this particular meeting, but I know he is in support of the item. I just want to make certain that Dr. Sykes and the staff at Bishop is aware of that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. 21125, authorized management agreement with Mobile Botanical Gardens.
Move to lay over for 2 weeks.
Second.
Probably moved in second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
There's no objection. I'll take the remaining items together.
Please.
21146, authorized contract of Harris Contracting for Spanish Plaza lighting upgrade. 08164, 165, and 166 are approving purchase orders and item-based bids to Train US for replacement central air heating system components for the Sanger Theater, to Stevers Ford Lincoln for crew cab pickup, Newman traffic signs, and Vulcan Inc. for street name signs and brackets. 08167, approved purchase orders to CDW Government LLC for HPE Nimble Adaptive Flash Backup Data Storage Array. 21169, authorized contract with Osprey Initiative for removal of litter on Dog River, 3 Mile and 1 Mile Creeks. 21170, authorized contract of Iker Construction Corporation for Langham Park Pavilion improvements. 21171, authorized contract with Tyndall Construction for Tremere Park improvements, restrooms, concessions, and community center. 21173, and 174, 175 are authorizing contracts with William Shaw, Jeremiah Moody, and Andre King, technicians for Gulf Coast Technology Center. 25176, accept permanent drainage easement from Debbie Petway for the 2018 CIP Trinity Gardens Area Street Drainage Improvements Project. 31177, amend the ESG pay year 2019 and 2020 action plan to change one of the nonprofits providing services for homeless prevention. 31178, authorize application and acceptance of ADECA CDBG CV funds. And 6183, determine an appropriation to Mobile County for construction of the Africatown Heritage House Museum serves a public purpose and authorize payment.
So moved.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes,
Mr.
I heard Ms. Gregory, then I come to Mr. Vice President.
Okay, thank you. On 21170, which is the contract for Langen Park Pavilions, I just want to let everybody know what's going on with this. We have a new plan and vision for Langen Park that you may have seen because it was announced last year. The pavilion work is something that started in 2020 and has continued on through 2021 in order to have enough money to do all of the pavilions. We are not demolishing and building from ground up. We are actually renovating these pavilions, the picnic pavilions, because they were in good shape. We didn't need to spend extra money to redo everything when they were already, the bones were good. They just needed some updating. And so that's what we are doing with these picnic pavilions. The bricks, the same, at least as much as possible, because these pavilions were built back in the 50s when the park opened. But we are trying to keep the look and the theme as close as possible, because as we go forward with the rest of this plan, there are other amenities that will be designed and built or renovated. And so we're very concerned about making it all very consistent so that there's not just this hodgepodge of colors or designs. You know, we want it to be first class because that's what this park is. It wasn't when it first opened. And we are now finally able to move forward with this plan and with enough funding to do a lot of work there. And I think people will be very excited when they see everything that is planned. We have some amenities in the works that will be coming forward. Some are renovations and some are ground up. So the Friends of Langen is forming. So that will be a group of volunteers to help work at events, raise money, and have a seat at the table when it comes to what we do at the park. So I'm just really excited about what's happening at Langen Park. It is long overdue and something that I hope everybody in the city will be excited about, because it is a citywide park. It is not just District 7. People come from all over the city and the county to use this park. So this is a good move, a good start, and I think people will be excited to see us doing this work and know that we haven't forgotten Langen Park. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Gregory. Vice President Small.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to talk about 21-171, which is authorizing improvement work at Tremere Park from the restrooms, concession stands, and the community center. As many citizens do know, especially in District 3, that Tremere Park is going through a total transformation from the football field, all the way to the baseball field. Last spring, the city had just completed over $500,000 NFL football playground equipment, which we had now officially had a grand ribbon cutting on it because of COVID. And pretty much we're still going to do that. Tremere Park has been neglected for many years because of funding. It wasn't never qualified for CBDG funds because of the area, one particular area is close to. And so with, with the gratefulness of CIP, we are not able to, pour money into Tremere Park from the playground equipment, basketball, the football fields, because that's the home of the Red Raiders, where we have many teams do come from across Mobile to Tremere Park for the Red Raiders baseball and football games. And the conditions of the restroom currently, and even the concession stand, to me, is not fitting to serve nobody out of. So I'm really grateful to see this in this particular contract in front of us today, which is coming out of our CIP. And this is just the first few steps that we're taking. First of many steps, we are taking. I ran into one of my constituents on last week, and she said, CJ, why we can't have a Miller on a park here? I said, it's on its way. I said, matter of fact, we have one, but we're improving it as we speak. But in the next 4 years, I will put Tremere Park against Medal of Honor Park. I know we still got a long ways to go, but we're going to get there. But again, thankfulness with the CIP, the administration, especially Ms. Smith, who's over Parks and Rec, for her vision for Tremere Park. And this is great news for this particular area of South DIP. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. And thank you for your leadership, Ms. Smith's leadership, to see that transformation. I can remember the condition Tremere Park was in from my school board days, and to see so much of a capital infusion going into that park, long overdue, and great job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
COVID-19 items being introduced for the first time, 88019 through 01209.
Madam Clerk, would you read off the ones that we are going to address?
Okay, we go ahead and make the statement and then I'll read those off.
I'd like to make a motion for immediate consideration of the items which the clerk will read. The remaining items will lay over by council rule for 1 week.
Second.
That
Properly moved to second in the discussion. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay, 40, 194, 195, 198, and 199 are declaring structures at 456 Booker Street, 912 Elmira Street, 2504 Courtney Street, 2304 Berman Hills Court, public nuisances, and ordering them demolished and or repaired. 58201, authorized removal of weeds, group 1611. 60, 202, 203, 204, 205, 206, 207 are determining appropriation to the Mobile Medical Museum, Child Advocacy Center, the Village of Spring Hill, Inc., Adoption Rocks, Inc., Keep Mobile Beautiful, Inc., Success for the Future Charity Foundation, Serve a Public Purpose, and approve payment. 6208, approve award a special bonus to the Officer of the Month for February 2021 as part of the Mayor's Incentive Program.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? Absent any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
40, 196, and 197 are declaring the structures at 1169 Elmira Street and 1212 Seneca Street public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Move to postpone for 60 days.
Second.
Second.
Probably moved to second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item laid there for 60 days.
Announcements.
Let's start with Mr. John Charles Williams.
Well, I will tell you that it's another great day in Mobile, Alabama. And I say that my colleagues, Joel Daves and Mr. CJ Small, joined forces yesterday and went with the Mobile Police Department to Navco Baptist Church, where the congregation there is energetic about changing their neighborhood, and they're providing facilities and energy to change it. And folks, I had not met him before, but we have a precinct commander by the name of Captain Bagsby. That is a native Mobilian. He loves this place. He loves his precinct. And I am certain he's going to make a difference. And if you have not met him, I would encourage that encounter soon. Like you were saying, the chief of police, Chief Petitions, really took control of the meeting and laid out his vision for what it is that the communities need to do to help him. And we, all three of us, and I know you would join us if you were there, pledge our complete support, as we always have, for whatever is necessary in the eyes of the chief to make our community safe. So again, thanks and hats off to the men and women in blue, and for those people in that community who are committed to making it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Ms. Besrich.
Thank you very much. You'll notice on the council's agenda that funds were given to Adoption Rocks, but it's also to the Camp Arapahoe because they're combining together. And this is for the Touch It Truck. You should have gotten some information from that group, and I hope that you'll consider joining me in helping to support this event that's taking place this year in May. It's normally done this time of year, but because of COVID, they've moved it out to May, and it's an outdoor event. It's a fabulous event for children, and everyone who participates enjoys it. Also, you'll notice that there's money from discretionary funds of District 6 as well for Keep Mobile Beautiful. And that is because this money will go towards the program that Commissioner Hudson has put out called I think it's Love Your Community, Your Community,
Yeah.
which is basically for cleanups and for neighborhoods to participate and to challenge each other. And then there's rewards for participating. So I look forward for that gearing up and becoming more robust, and Keep Mobile Beautiful. I would like to publicly thank them. And also on 01209, I didn't bring it up when we were, resting it, but that should read $250,000 for the the Mobile County Soccer Complex. It's what was budgeted. And I understand that was basically a typo. So just want to publicly say that. And also last week I mentioned asking, I've mentioned it at pre-conference, but I'd like to publicly also mention again that I'm waiting to hear from the administration, how the administration moves forward contracts that are CIP. In the past, we learned that there were not adequate employees to manage those contracts. And so back a number of years ago, we added funds when the mayor asked us to amend the budget to hire individuals that would be managing these on behalf of the CIP program. So I look forward to knowing what that status is. And also I know there'll be a committee meeting, I hope soon, that deals with CIP. And I want to wish everyone a very happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Besrich. Let's hear from the voice of District 7, Gina Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. President. The mayor has already mentioned the Festival of Flowers last week. On Friday morning, I stepped in for him to help cut the ribbon on the opening of the Festival of Flowers, and Councilman Williams was with me. It was a really terrific event. First time it had been in Cathedral Square. Of course, it was canceled last year, and Providence Hospital and their foundation wanted to make sure that it wasn't canceled 2 years in a row. So they moved it downtown, something different, and coordinated with the Loda Art Walk, which was a terrific success. So we were able to have a smaller version of the Festival of Flowers. And I think it really went well. We had some terrific flower arrangements, garden sculptures. Several of my colleagues, Mr. Richardson, Ms. Rich, and Mr. Williams, and Mr. Daves, all came together to help to sponsor one of the sculptures. So we appreciate that, and I know they appreciate us continuing to support the Festival of Flowers. On Saturday, I went out to join in and take some pictures of the Hillsdale Homeowners Association as they went out to clean up their entrances. They do cleanups really regularly, and they are very determined to make improvements to their neighborhood. They not only clean the area, but they also take care of the landscaping. They have already trimmed the trees, and they are now looking to install some lights. I've helped them with funding to install lights there at their entrances. And so I just want to thank them for all that they do. The Hillsdale group has always been very active. This is a group that has come together with two different groups. The Homeowners Association has joined with the Community Development Corporation, and they are all working together for the betterment of their neighborhood, as all community groups do. So just a big thank you to them for what they are doing. And I also just wanted to mention working on Ziegler Boulevard, of course, continues. You'll still see a lot of clearing going on. But coming up, something that will be of note for folks who drive this way quite often is there will be some drainage work going on the south side of Ziegler toward University Boulevard, but it shouldn't cause any closing of the road. But there will be some changes to traffic patterns up along the Forest Hill to Forest Dale Avenue Drive area. So just be looking out for that. Detours will be noted with some signage, as well as crew members out making sure that people know exactly where to go. But just be aware that sometimes there will be some road closures, there will be some detours, but they will be marked very well, very visibly, so you shouldn't have any problems. But of course, this work will be going on for a good 2 to 3 years, so we will see more of these types of things. I just want to update people as best we can through Facebook, through emails, and of course, during our council meetings. So thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, no problem, Ms. Gregory. Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. To Ms. Rich's question earlier, that CIP committee meeting will be 2 weeks from today, which will be March 30th, right after council meeting, immediately after council meeting, okay? To the citizens of District 3, again, in the next couple of weeks, we got some big Saturday that is coming up, which is March the 27th. And first, we're going to start off at the South DIP Inn, inviting all the citizens South DIP to meet up at the BC Rain High School at 8:15, where we're going to do a community-wide cleanup. This has been sponsored by Revitalize DIP. And again, this will be going on from 9 a.m. until 12 o'clock noon. And again, this will be on March the 27th, inviting all the citizens of South DIP to please come out on March the 27th, which is a Saturday, at the BC Rain High School to participate in a community-wide cleanup. And again, this will go on from 9 a.m. until noon on the 27th. And we also invited all the citizens to come out, later on at 10 o'clock a.m. To Von Howard Randall Park, which is also known as Duval Street Park, at 10 o'clock a.m., where my office and the Parks and Rec will be combining together to have an Easter egg hunt. We usually have one every year. Last year was our first year since being on the council. We did not have one because of the pandemic, but we will be following all safe precautions on the 27th. And again, we're going to invite all the kids in District 3 to come out for some food, fun, and entertainment. And again, I'm very excited about these dates on the 27th. And again, I appreciate every citizens of District 3 for all the work that you all have done. And again, if you have any overgrown grass, blighted properties that you're looking at every day right next door to you, please dial 311 And if you cannot dial 311, especially from your cell phone, please dial 251-208-5311. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Mr. Fred Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me say that on Thursday from 1 to 4, the corona vaccines will be given at the Dutch Community Center in Trenton Gardens. To the citizens on Barris Lane, I want them to know that all information that I furnished them from the administration in the past regarding the resurfacing of their street proved to be false. I had a talk with the mayor today at our pre-council meeting about me being provided information that was not true. And I asked him to furnish me as close as he can a date certain that you all can expect to have your street resurfaced. And it doesn't matter, he's going to have to get back with me I expect to hear back from him. But you certainly, if I don't hear back from him, you will hear back from me. You better believe that you will hear back from me. When Mars got ready to put their trunk line in Tricentennial Park, they had to come to the city mobile to get permission to come on city property to do that. I held it up because first of all, I didn't want them to cut the trees down, but I wanted them to replant new trees. Jim Lap agreed to meet with Mars, see if he can convince them to replant new trees. He came back to the council to said, Mars said they would replant new trees. I voted for that. So I contacted my appointee at Mars for her to check with Mars to find out when do they plan on replanting the trees, because the time for replanting trees is going to run out. The summer comes, it's too late. So I got the answer back yesterday from Mr. Bud McCrory that he sent to her, and Mr. McCrory, he would assume the directorship, I believe, in April of Mars. Said that Mars, the plan Mars City sent to the city for the truck line did not include moving any trees. The city asked them to move from the area that they had planned to run the trunk line over to the area where the trees, where all of those big trees were. The city sent them over there. And the city told them they would plant new trees. And he said they don't have no plans to replant any trees because the city said, if you cut the trees down, we will replant the trees. And I want to know if there's anybody here from the city can say anything to me about the city replanting trees in Tricentennial Park. Do we have anybody here from the administration that can speak on that? Is Jim DeLapp on? Is anybody here from the administration? Did all of y'all leave?
It doesn't appear anybody's connected, Mr. Rich.
Okay, well, I guess I would have to take that one too up with the last thing, I got a gentleman who has a business on Spring Hill Avenue. This morning, he was coming from off the Navco Road area trying to get to his business. And he told me that that for an hour and 15 minutes, when he got to the train track, a train was already on the track when he got to the train. And he stayed there for an hour and 15 minutes before the train moved. it was there when he got there, but he stayed there for another hour and 15 minutes. And you got people talking about whether or not we ought to have passenger service in the mobile, what it would do to the freight. I think the freight need to figure out what they're doing to our citizens. I was in Thedor, Alabama, south of Highway 90 2 weeks ago. And when I tried to get back over on Highway 90, train was parked across the tracks, and it must have been an hour that I waited over to stay over there. I just stayed over there. Train didn't move. And they got the audacity talking about what a passenger train may do to them. I think they need to take a look at what they're doing to our citizens, that you can park a train for nearly 2 hours and you don't move the train. And if a house catch a fire over there, what, can't no fire truck get over there? We might need to, if you're in a residential neighborhood and they have no other way out, that is unsafe. So it's something that I guess I have to write the rail administration for them to look into this, what can be done about this. I don't know, but I know citizens are not satisfied with that a train can block a track for way over hours. And they just sit there. If it's another way out, I see. And there don't no other way out. NAVCO no other way out. So it's something that needs to be looked at. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I have not overlooked, Mr. Vice President.
Yeah, Mr. Richardson, you may want to talk to Mr. Williams and ask him the history of that. There is a history of that, and that made it in media several times. But Mr. Williams, that's his district, and he's very familiar with this situation, but he can tell you all the ups and downs about that situation and stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I have not overlooked anyone, have I? Wonderful. Well, I just want to announce, it was mentioned and remarked earlier about the roundabout, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks. That roundabout at Government and Canal will be open. We've had a lot of community interest in exactly what will go in that grassy median area. So I'm sure there'll be some engagement with the community as it relates to that project. Additionally, we'll be kicking off the application process for the District 2 Housing Rehab Initiative. We're calling it a new view for District 2. And there will be we'll be taking applications for upwards of 60 homes to work on the exterior of your residences and potentially providing grants up to $5,000 a piece. We're working in conjunction with Jamie Robertson and his department with the city, community, and housing development. This is the pilot year for it. If it's successful, as we hope it will be, then hopefully next year we'll be able to allocate more resource, have more impact, and I'm sure there may be even more interest amongst some of my colleagues on the council. I'm excited about the initiative because as we work to resurface streets, as we work to repair, and in some cases install sidewalks, and as we work to add amenities to community centers and things of that nature, one thing that's going to make our neighborhoods stronger and invite and incentivize further development is to beautify them, and particularly in those communities where the citizens are low to moderate income individuals. And I happen to have a lot of those areas in District 2. So we expect this initiative to be wildly popular. We ask for your patience because we only have so much resource, but hopefully as we move forward, we'll be able to allocate more and help more in the process. That concludes my announcements. Anything further from members of the council?
Move to adjourn the meeting.
It's
Second.
properly moved. Is that second?
Yeah.
Properly
second.
second. Any discussion? Absent any discussion, all in favor of adjourning? Aye.
All right.